Now, when you grow up in Tuscaloosa, chances are you want to play football for the Tide. Now, there is a very small amount of people that could ever make that happen, especially when you deal with childhood diabetes. Well, for Alabama's Keith Holcombe, there was nothing that was going to stop him from accomplishing that dream. Here's the journey.
They come after it and they block it. It will be a safety. Keith Holcombe got it.
Just being out there for that moment there on the field and playing for the University of Alabama is something unreal, especially coming from a guy that's grown up loving Alabama. I'm from Tuscaloosa. I grew up coming to the games, playing backyard football right outside of Bryant-Denny Stadium. My dad played under the Bear through 79 through 82. Lucky enough to win a national championship in 79, so it's always been a dream of mine.
Linebacker and special teams standout Keith Holcombe's dream of following in his father's footsteps was threatened when he was diagnosed with diabetes as a child.
Being 9 years old, you hear that you have a disease, you're scared to death. My final day in the hospital, my dad sat me at the end of the hospital bed, told me, this is just another thing God's put in your way. It's not going to slow you down. All your dreams and aspirations, they're not done. It's just a challenge you have to get over.
Heeding his father's advice, Holcombe excelled in high school as a two-sport athlete. He earned an ESPN 300 ranking in football, and in June of 2014 was drafted in the 37th round by the Arizona Diamondbacks. But he decided to suit up for Nick Saban.
Diabetes is an issue for anybody that has it, much less an athlete. You know, the activity level of an athlete really makes the effects of diabetes even more pronounced.
It wasn't easy. I really had to dig down deep and tell myself, this is what you've worked for, this is what you've gone through your entire life preparing for. You know, people are going to question if you can do it because you're a type 1 diabetic. Is it going to limit you?
It is a daily, almost an hourly thing with Keith in terms of checking his blood sugar levels, making sure that his diet is what it needs to be, and also just constantly being aware of where he's at. What does he have to do 3 hours from now? Or what does he have to do tomorrow? And how is he going to prepare himself to do that?
Some days you're just gonna have a bad day. There's nothing you can do about it. If I drop like a low blood sugar and I have to sit down just for a couple minutes, once we're back up, I know I have to go harder to show everybody that, hey, I'm back, I'm ready to go, I'm willing to work right now.
It has had a very limited effect on his performance and his consistency, which is really surprising, but I think it's a real tribute to how he takes care of himself and the respect that he has for his situation.
Like his father before him, Holcombe was part of a national championship team. But immediately after beating Clemson, he was on to a new challenge.
I wasn't ready to give up baseball yet. I didn't want to be labeled as a kid that he has diabetes, so he's just going to give up a dream. And a dream of mine was to play football and baseball if I had the opportunity.
To say that I had my doubts, that would be an understatement. I definitely had my doubts about it, just because of I know the demands of playing a sport at this level, much less playing two sports. I mean, this is a guy that we played Clemson in the national championship on January the 11th. We flew back on the 12th. He started baseball practice on January the 13th. I mean, just no break whatsoever.
He puts in a lot of extra work. We had spring ball, and then I went over and watched a baseball game, and he had got off the practice field and went baseball. That's pretty just amazing that he can balance both and be so spectacular at both.
Little kids or just young teenagers who have reached out to me. They think their world is completely over. I just want to let them know that that is not the case at all. I was able to fight through all this and just dig deep and find that this disease will not slow me down.
Now, Holcombe's having a great season so far, 24 tackles already, and he hopes to add to that tally when the Tide take on Ole Miss this weekend.